Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow Room. I'm going to get it right this time. There we go. Okay. Well, we're still working on the piece. Oh, we've got some very interesting things. Really interesting things. The cool thing about this series, at least in the letter P, has been that we've covered like centuries of music in a single leap. And this is one of those occasions, let me tell you. First, we have La Pellegrina. It's not a composer, because it's a whole bunch of composers. It's music for the wedding of Ferdinand de' Medici and Christine de Lorraine, Princess of France, Florence, 1589, with the Huelgas Ensemble under Paul van Nevel. Now, this is a collection of 6 intermedi. Intermedi were, well, intermezzos. They're little mini operas, sort of kind of things, before they had opera, actually, in 1589. And there are 6 of them, and they all represent mythical characters zipping around and praising the royal couple. You get the picture. They're magical type things. They're lovely and attractive and oodles of fun. And that's on Sony Vivarte. And then another Baroque sort of crazy thing that had, well, you know how, what's his name? What's his name? The Campbell Soup guy, with the funny white hair. And, well, I'll remember. How can I not remember his name? It was Andrew something. Can you believe it? Anyway, this is what happens when you get older. He predicted that everybody would have Andy Warhol. Thank you. Good grief. He predicted that everybody would have their 15 minutes of fame. Well, this had about 15 seconds of fame. This is Teodorico Pedrini. He lived from 1671 to 1746. Baroque concert at the Forbidden City. Whoa, baby. Yes, this was one of those cultural exchange programs back in the 17th and early 18th centuries. So apparently a bunch of them went to China and they did something at the Forbidden City. In this case, it's Musique de Lumière with a flute, a violin, a cello, a theorbo, and a clavecin and a harpsichord. Can you imagine dragging your harpsichord to the Forbidden City in 16-something? I mean, what a mess it must have been when it finally arrived, by ship. Anyway, this consists of various composers writing their première divertissement chinoise. Isn't that interesting? And little sonatas for violin and continuo with a bunch of, it's really, nifty. So apparently this got played at some point in China to show the Chinese how much better the West was. And the Chinese just laughed, I'm sure. But it must have been interesting. It really did. This is on Ovidis Astray. And, there it is. Have a look. I mean, have I listened to it ever since I bought it? Frankly, no. I haven't. I couldn't care less. But I kept it because it is an interesting curiosity. The music is your, generic Baroque stuff. And it's kind of different. Yeah, for the most part anyway. There we go. There's that. And last but not least for this particular batch, Harry Partch. Here we go. Harry Partch. Now, Harry Partch, in case you didn't know, Harry Partch was an American composer. He lived from 1901 to 1974. He invented his own musical language based on lots of microtonal intervals, something like a 22-note scale or God knows what. And he invented his own instruments to play that musical language. Most of them were of a percussive nature, and he gave them very interesting names like, coitus interruptus and Pithopratka fracticus, and I don't know what they were called. And it really very, very interesting. And so we have here his complete, he didn't write that much actually, but we have 5 discs here. I think there are 5 discs. Volume 1 and Volume 2. Yeah, I think so. 3, 4, 5. This was on CRI. And then it was reissued somehow. This is Volume 1 again. Okay, so I've got Volume 1 twice on CRI. They were reissued on New World. There we go. Because New World took over the catalog. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating stuff. Not easy to listen to. Most of it is somewhat it's almost like chant. It doesn't have harmony. It's reinventing a kind of ancient Greek musical language. And he set theater works. Most of his stuff is theatrical in nature, and it's mostly on Greek and mythological subjects, except for Barstow, which is totally fabulous, which is a bunch of hobo songs for voice and guitar. It's his most popular work, and we'll get to that in a moment. But disc 1 has 11 intrusions with Harry Partch himself, principal vocals, and then plectra and percussion dances, satyr play music for dance theater. I actually use this as a ringtone. It works really, really well because there's nothing quite like having a microtonal ringtone. It certainly turns heads, but it doesn't have to be terribly loud. It kind of cuts through, whatever's going on. Then we have Ulysses at the Edge. Let's see, what's in disc 2, volume 2 here. Oh, there are 4 volumes, yes. Let's see, we have The Wayward, which is a setting of cries of 2 newsboys on a foggy night in the 20s. Goodness gracious. U.S. Highball, musical account of a transcontinental hobo trip. The Letter, and Barstow, 8 hitchhiker inscriptions. Those are here. Really amazingly crazy and somehow uniquely American stuff. It really is. And on the 7th day, Petals Fell in Petaluma. These are all recordings that were supervised by the composer himself. Then we've got The Dreamer That Remains, a study in living, with the Harry Partch Ensemble. That's for intoning voice and narrator, wind song. All instruments played by Harry Partch, recorded in 1958. Rotate the Body in All Its Planes, a ballad for gymnasts. Water, Water, an intermission with prologues and epilogues. And then finally, The Bewitched, a dance satire. And this is with all of his crazy instruments and things, doing microtonal googies and hoogies. It's very special, as you can well imagine. I don't think you'd want to listen to it every day, but it's certainly an experience. Now, some of his pieces were recorded for Sony, and they were re-released there too. They're upstairs somewhere. I think the Delusions of the Fury was one of them, and they're all, Greek plays, and things like that. And then we've got, what's this one? Just West Coast. This is an absolutely fabulous disc on Bridge Records that has Lou Harrison, Lamont Young, Barstow, Harry Partch, 2 studies by Partch, John Cage, and Lou Harrison. Just a totally wonderful, wonderful disc of music from the California School of Modern American Music. John Schneider plays the just intonation and adapted guitar, and Amy Schulman, the Celtic and concert harps. Really an extraordinary disc. Here it is on Bridge. It's called Just West Coast. If you want like a really great sampling of American music from this period and these folks, get this. I'm serious. You're going to be very, very happy. It's a wonderful thing. And last but not least, what is this? Oh, here's Delusion of the Fury. The first recording, a ritual of dream and delusion, ensemble of unique instruments conducted by Daniel Mitchell. And you've got kind of a picture. I don't know if this didn't come out very well, this photo, but I'll try and put it here so that you can see, these very strange and fascinating looking instruments that Harry Partch built to play his music. There's nothing else quite like it. There really isn't. And he's an amazing guy. So there you have it, my friends. Keep on listening, and thanks for joining me. Take care.